meet him at his office. It's good to see you.
Oh, appreciate it. We got to get some traction.
It's good policy. It's
Give me something to drink. Okay. How y'all doing? I don't know. It's up to the channel.
Oh, you're on me.
Yeah, I gotta get up there.
Go ahead and go. I'm gonna call your somebody to see you.
Okay.
From Jefferson County.
That's right. You want to go sit and wait.
We got a little bill that putting us back on the Alabama tax return for donations.
You want to be on?
Well, we've been on there. We fell off. Yeah,
Is
we
that
got
it?
it. No, we got it out of
Okay, members, it's 11:30. We'll go ahead and get started with our Education Policy Committee meeting this morning. This time we'll ask clerk to call the roll, please.
Senator Butler, Senator Figures, Senator Hatcher, Senator Hovey, Senator Kitchens, Senator Price, Senator Shellnut, Senator Smitherman, Senator Stutz, and Senator Chasteen.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum ready to get started. Clerk, would you call the first bill for us this morning, please?
HB 329 by Representative Faulkner.
Right on time, Representative Faulkner.
Thank you,
Come on
Mr.
in,
Chairman.
sir.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
members. This is known as the Computer Science Bill. It was up here last year, passed out of the House, and no opposition, and same up here. But we just last minute I didn't get it to the floor. But what we're doing here is the State Board of Education, as you know, already has a computer science as a graduation requirement. All we're doing here is codifying that. That's really the bulk of it. But happy to. We did have a committee in the House, committee amendment, and I can explain that. But it's pretty. You want me to go, Senator Smithman? Keep going.
No, yeah, the amendment.
Yes, sir.
All right,
You
Mr.
good? You good?
Yeah. So we did have added a House committee amendment. First of all, the bill did add AI and other emerging technologies. We had that input, and we put that into the computer science, the graduation requirement, so that those things can count too. But the amendment was requested by Alabama State Department of Education, SSA, and A+, clarifies, and this was last year in the Senate Education Committee, clarifies clarifies that a department-approved course with embedded computer science skills and experiences will count toward the graduation requirement. It required the Alabama State Department to develop and publish a set of minimum standards that must be taught in every course. Requires the Alabama State Department to publish a list of approved courses that meet the standards. And we have removed the computer science as a college and career readiness indicator by itself. So it's got to be
Has to be embedded, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Any questions, members? Senator Smithman?
What's going to happen at the schools? And I've it's just a pickup from F&T Ed meeting. We in policy now. Okay, so now Ed, I was talking to him about one thing, and policy, I got to talk about another. And you're going to see the correlation. So what are we going to do when these schools don't have the money to get these kids computers? How are they going to finish a required computer course and we're not providing every child in there a computer? I mean, I need an answer because right now this bill does not do that, and we need an amendment to either say that if they something to the effect, if they're not going to provide the equipment, then the student is exempt. I mean, we set them up to flunk if we making this required and we ain't got a computer. You know, maybe sharing two people to know one computer. They need to take that computer home, practice, or whatever they do individually. So how are we going to facilitate this? And I should pass it back to you. How are we going to facilitate this?
Yes, Senator, I know that the State Board of Education, when they put this requirement in, and it's for the 2031, 2032 school year. So there's obviously time between this taking effect. But I know that the State Department of Education has made this requirement, and I know that the computer science courses have to be offered. That's state law. And so I'm assuming the State Department and our school systems will make sure that happens because they know it's a graduation requirement.
Unfortunately, let me say this to you. One of the highest schools that we have in the Birmingham system for academics. And when I said that, I'll just compare because, being you and I, we represent Mountain Brook and Homewood as well as Birmingham. So when I say it like this, I'm talking about my own folks in the same bowl. Ramsey provides the same level of excellence as those two programs. You look at the scores from the state. If Homewood's got 97 on math, Ramsey got 96. Homewood got 95, and English Ramsey got 96. And Mountain Brook, okay, so I said that. But yet,
Ramsey has good basketball coaches too.
but yet, starting this year, all students didn't have a computer. My point I'm making to you is that the assumption that because they know that means they're gonna get the computers, that doesn't mean that. So I think that it needs to be something in here that's a qualifier to say that if, in order for them to go, see, we bringing on a new standard now. See, I heard what you said, what we are doing over there. But now we bringing in a whole new whatever this is right here. And I want to say that because you heard me say, you may not recall, but the last one you was in when we was in the last meeting, is that the point I was making was simply this. Because on the second hand, because we missed the boat to require that if you don't have the computers, that then you wouldn't be held under that standard because you don't have the equipment. We missed the boat when we passed the whole thing back down the road, because you said, well, the state already requires computer science. We missed that boat. We should have put that in right then. And so what I'm saying is that because the boat missed in, don't mean it's all right not to put it in now. You see what I'm getting at? That, a lot of folks say, well, we were doing it. It's in there. Not you, but you were there this morning.
Yeah.
It was another issue. Well, we already passed that, and we doing that. Yeah, we messed up over there. Now you don't open up Pandora's box, which that's fine. But now we in there, see it messed up. We got to correct that we didn't correct here, and do what you want. So I'm just speaking in terms of a friendly amendment.
Sure.
That says that in order for them to be held by these standards, that system shall, not may, but shall provide the necessary equipment for each student to be able to do that if we're going to hold them to computer science.
Yes, sir. And Senator, I certainly understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
But what I see this is we have to offer a computer science class. You have to take a certain class. Now, within that class, if computers are needed, which I would rightfully assume to pass that class, you would probably need a computer, then absolutely. I don't know that the graduation requirement or our law that we passed saying you've got to offer those courses has to mean that every student in the high school has that. There are other ways to get your computer science through math, science, and I know if Mark Dixon is kind of one with A+ has always helped me with things, but that would be what my brain was thinking when you were speaking is that absolutely it's going to be a graduation requirement in 2031, 2032, and for you to get that computer science requirement, it doesn't have to be computer. It can be math and science can count for that, for the computer science requirement, and it's taking in that class. So it wouldn't mean that everybody in the high school had to be given a laptop.
Representative Faulkner, would you mind if we let Mr. Dixon
I would love
speak
that.
to that?
Yeah, because I want to make sure I
there was
answer
some clarity
Senator-
last year. We needed some clarity last year, Senator Smitherman.
Yes, sir.
When we were moving with this. So, Mark, I know you've worked on this. If you don't mind speaking to this, please.
Sure. And as Representative Faulkner said, one, they're required to offer computer science courses now. That law's been in effect since 2019. So you've got that in place. You've also got A&T funds that they can choose to spend on technology and things like that. But also state assessments right now, our ACAP assessment, all of those are taken on computers in schools. The infrastructure is there. And we know, I have a member of my staff had been a teacher in Birmingham. We know there's significant investments to try and have even close to a 1-to-1 there that they're working on as well. So there's a lot of movement here, and there are the computers that they would need to take the requirement.
Mr. Chairman, can I?
Senator Smitherman.
First of all, I want to say this. You know, I worked closely on so many things, so
Yes, sir.
don't take this personal, what I'm saying. That's why I said all that first. But that's an overblow of what we doing. That ain't hit nothing what I just said about if you got a student in there and you expect for them to be able to do that. You know, you mentioned about, well, you got some funds over here you could get. No, we talking about poor folks. They can't get money from AT&T. They folk can't even afford to hardly send them to school. Yet we're telling them that they're required. If this school is going to require this a system, they should be required to put a computer in their hand. And I hear the sidebar about they do this, that, and other. But you look at the bottom of this on page 1, he says they're emerging technology, including not limited to artificial intelligence. And then it talks about up here about using the equipment and the theories. They got to do both. Just that math class taking a theory is not going to satisfy their proficiency on operating this computer. And you're even saying it in here in the bill. So what I'm getting at, back to my whole point, it needs to be and should be in there that if we're going to require this, it is required that they give these kids computers, whether they let them take them home or whether they can only use in the classroom. That's up to the system. But that's got to be, if we're not doing that, all we doing here is setting up children that fell out of school. That's all we doing if they don't have the equipment. It's nice and pretty and sounds great, and the people who richy or who can go afford it, it's going to be great for them. But those kids who don't, those kids in the 121 failing schools, that are priority schools that we need to get some money to already, then they're going to flunk.
Yes, sir. And I totally understand that concern. I think
That's a fact.
I hear you. And I think the one thing I would say too is a lot of these courses that you're talking about at the introductory level, the bulk of it actually is often not on its theory as well. So they're learning from the textbooks, they're learning from all of that as well, and then they add in the computer as well. And because every school has to have a computer lab, has to have computers to even take state assessments, the computers are there. They can, even if the school doesn't have the additional resources, they have those in place because we're taking those assessments today.
I think there are a lot of carts, right, that have the
That's right.
computers in there for the class. Senator Figures, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wouldn't this class be treated just like all the others? Like we provide books for the students if they're in a particular class in the public school system. So if they needed a computer, then it would be provided for them, and like you have the computer labs.
Yes, ma'am.
But I started out majoring in computer science in college. Yeah, I quickly changed that major. But anyway, but we didn't have to have a computer either for the classes that we took. And yeah, it is a lot in theory and learning how it all works first. So, but I was just thinking that if it's a class that's going to be required, then it is incumbent upon the system to make sure, or the Department of Education to make sure that they have the tools that they need in order to pass the class.
Yes, ma'am.
And
To Senator Smitherman, to your point, Representative Faulkner, I know that you've got a committee meeting or a meeting you need to get to, but I will work with you and the State Department of Education. We do, to your point, we need to know where these schools are that do not have devices, okay? Because there's funding that is available if they're, if these schools do not have those. We just need to identify them and then target those schools and the resources that are needed in order to level the playing field for all of our schools. I'll try to get that information for you, and then we'll have a conversation, and if we need to amend it in some way, I'll be happy to work with you on that, okay?
all right, I appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
And Senator, I'm with you too.
Oh, I know you with me.
We're gonna make sure the schools have what they need, and that's your point. And I'm with you 100%. If they're not, we're not gonna leave those kids out to dry.
Okay.
Senator Hatcher, did you move for a favorable earlier? Okay.
I second.
And Senator Smitherman seconds. Okay. Let's get a good roll.
Senator Butler. Aye. Senator Chasteen.
Aye.
Senator Figures. Aye. Senator Hatcher. Aye. Senator Hovey. Aye. Senator Kitchens.
Aye.
Senator Price. Aye. Senator Shellnut. Aye. Senator Smitherman.
Aye.
Senator Stutz. Favorable.
Okay, 9-0. Bill's given a favorable report. Representative Faulkner, thank you for your work. You've worked for a couple of years on this. You got it up here to us last year. We didn't get it across the finish line, so we'll do our part to try to finish this bill this year, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, clerk, would you call the next bill, please?
SB 5 by Senator Allen.
Senator Allen, back again with ed policy this week. So that's 2 weeks in a row, right?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and committee, thank you. You have seen this piece of legislation last session as well, and it's the national anthem bill, and it's a very simple bill. The local superintendents and boards will develop the policies, and it is a constitutional amendment, and so it's as well as the Smithsonian has a website that you can go to as well, in different versions. But my favorite is Whitney Houston. So
did you say this is a constitutional amendment?
yes, it's a constitutional amendment. Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Senator Shellnut moved for favorable. Senator Smitherman, you have a comment?
Now you can let somebody, if they're gonna second, then I comment.
Okay, Senator Butler seconds. Okay, just comment.
I do. Senator, you've done a good job to pull me closer to where you trying to go. You've done a good job. I want to tell you that. I want y'all to know he been working me. He don't work me good. But let me say this. My concern is simply the fact it's not that wouldn't pass a statute, but we finna make this a permanent part of the whole constitution of this state, and that concerns me. It doesn't concern me after I've had a chance to work me over good since I've been here. And you know my position in the past years, how I've been, about this. But you've been good, let me say that, to work to try to address those concerns. And I want to give you your kudos there. You've done that part. But I'm concerned that we are making it a constitutional amendment and not a statute. Well, yes, in the statute we would have to do it. But to make it a permanent part of the Constitution, I have concerns with that part. So I right now, I just tell you my personal position is that I think I can support what you're trying to do here from a statutory standpoint. but I'm struggling with the fact that we're talking about a constitutional amendment.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, we'll have a first motion to approve and a second. Any objection using the previous roll? Okay, call it. Okay, let's call the long roll, please.
Senator Butler. Senator Chastain.
Aye.
Senator Figures. Senator Hatcher. Senator Hovey. Senator Kitchens. Senator Price. Senator Shellnut. Senator Smitherman.
No as a constitutional amendment.
Senator Stutz. That's favorable, 6-3.
Okay, 6-3. Senator Allen, your bill's given a favorable report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Committee members, thank you. We are adjourned. Any comment?
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
ma'am.
may I
Senator
ask
Figures.
Senator Allen? Senator Allen, would you be open to an amendment to change it to a statute rather than a constitutional amendment? We have the longest constitution in the country, and we're always adding these little bitty. Where are you? These
Well,
little
we're,
things that
This is a great year. We're
could be done in a
celebrating
statute.
250th anniversary, and just be a great way to celebrate this great country.
I know by making it a statute. That's
And-
that's going a long way.
Don't be surprised if we bring Whitney Houston back. Okay?
I may do an amendment to put the Black national anthem on there too, and we can play both of them. It'd be totally diversified.